The first reading is Joshua 1, verses 1 through 9. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord spoke to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, "My servant Moses is dead. Now proceed to cross the Jordan, you and all this people, into the land that I am giving to them, to the Israelites. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given to you, as I promised to Moses. From the wilderness and the Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, to the great sea in the west shall be territory. No one shall be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall lead this people to possess the land that I swore to their ancestors to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to act in accordance with the law that my servant Moses commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, so that you may be successful wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth. You shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to act in accordance with all that is written in. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall be successful. I hereby command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." The second reading is Isaiah 41, verses 10 through 14. "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you. I will uphold you with my victorious right hand. All who are incensed against you shall be ashamed and disgraced, for those who strive against you shall be as nothing and shall perish. You shall seek those who contend with you, but you shall not find them. Those who war against you shall be as nothing at all. For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, do not fear, I will help you. Do not fear, you worm Jacob, you maggot Israel. I will help you, says the Lord. Your Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel." So now the Gospel, according to Matthew, the 8th chapter, verses 25 through 29. "And they went and woke him up, saying, 'Lord, save us, we are perishing.' And he said to them, 'Why are you afraid, you of little faith?' Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a dead calm. They were amazed, saying, 'What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?' When he came to the other side, to the region of the Gadarenes, 2 men possessed by demons came out of the tombs and met him. They were so fierce that no one could pass that way. Suddenly they shouted, 'What have you to do with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time?'" The word of the Lord. Just need some water. All right. So for those that don't know me, my name is Alyssa Gullickson. I'm a dentist by day, not a pastor, so please give me a little grace as I share my heart with you today. I've always believed that God only gives us what we can handle, but I've learned that sometimes it's less about how much we can handle and more about how much we are willing to trust him. Many of you here know Evan and Brielle, but you may not know their full story. I want to share a glimpse of it, but don't worry, I'm not going to get into all the medical details, I promise. I'm going to share with you the faith journey that began the night of July 17th, 2014, where everything changed and Scott's in my life were flipped upside down. Up until July 17th, my life was going according to plan. I was married to my high school sweetheart. I got my dental degree, which is something I dreamed about since I was a junior in high school. I want to thank my dad for that recommendation. And I was pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl. Like, life was pretty much perfect. Then in an instant, everything changed. I woke up in the night thinking I had wet the bed. Scott calmly got up to change the sheets and said, "It's all right, it happens, it's fine." But as I realized it was something more serious, I called my dad, who, if you don't know, is a family physician. His calm response was, "Just go to the hospital to have it checked out, I'm sure it's fine." I would be curious to see what the chaos that ensued after that phone call ended, because Scott and I lived in St. Joe at the time, and we're heading to St. Cloud. My mom and dad, who lived here, were an hour away, and they somehow got to the hospital very shortly after us. So I don't know how fast he drove that night, but he got there pretty quick. Scott's parents did make it too, but I don't think they sped. At this time, I was only 23 weeks pregnant and 3 days. For those that don't know this, a full-term pregnancy is 40 weeks, so I was just a bit over the halfway mark. We actually just found out about the twins at 20 weeks. So Scott and I had only digested the fact that there were 2 babies in my belly for about 3 weeks. Scott and I made it to the hospital. Once we got to our room, things escalated very quickly. The doctors and the nurses soon realized that it was baby A's, Evan's, water, had broken and he was in distress. From there, it was just a blur of doctors, nurses, and beeping of all sorts of medical devices. The doctors and nurses were moving quickly and coming up with their plan. I'll never forget looking at Scott and saying, "We will not lose them. I refuse." Then I prayed, "Lord, please keep my babies safe, and if you must, please take me instead. Just please protect my babies." The doctors came in and gave us the odds of survival. If I could hold on and stay pregnant for 36 more hours to allow for me to get these 3 rounds of shots of steroids and magnesium, which helps to increase brain and lung development, the baby's survival rate would increase from 8% to 24%. So the best I could get is 24% chance of survival. That's a 1 in 4 shot. Not great odds, but 24 is a lot better than 8. By God's grace, we made it. 36 brutally painful hours. I had to do this without any pain meds or any epidurals or anything. During those 36 hours, I had contractions every 30 minutes. For those that like math, that's around 72 rounds of contractions. Before going to the OR to deliver Evan, we talked with my OB. Scott and I had to make the hardest decision of our lives, to take Evan off the monitor so we could keep Brielle safe. The reason being is that if we kept Evan on the monitor and he went into distress, I would have to have an emergency C-section, resulting in both babies being born. We knew Evan was coming either way, so we leaned hard on our faith and left it to God. We would not know if he would survive the delivery until after he was born. I prayed like never before. God, I have done all I can. It's all in your hands now. It's like the verse that we heard in Matthew 8, like the men in the boat yelling, "Lord, save us, we're all going to drown." I was yelling, "Lord, save my babies." If you don't know me, control is something I struggle to let go of. But here I had no choice but to give up all control and put my faith in God and the doctors and nurses that were going to try to save me and my babies. As you all know, the babies did survive. Evan was born just 1 pound, 7 ounces, and 12 inches long. That is very tiny, but oh man, he was perfect. So small, but oh so mighty. I managed to stay pregnant for 17 more days with Brielle. Then she made her grand entrance, after 29 hours of labor, I might add, at 1 pound, 14 ounces, and 14 inches long. Our story did not end on the day Evan was born, but instead a new one began. Our new life was going to be filled with so many unknowns because our twins were born so premature. We did not know, and would not know for years, what their quality of life would be. Would they be able to talk, walk, feed themselves? I don't know. Obviously they can, but having to wait years to find out really tests one's patience. During the early years with the twins, Scott and I had many stressful days and nights. I do want to clarify that all new parents have stressful days and nights, so I am not discounting that. This is just my story, so. One example is we had to make sure both Evan and Brielle were getting all their medications and sufficient milk supply during the feedings once we got home from the NICU. This meant we had to prepare 4 bottles for every 3-hour feeding, 2 for each child, one with the meds in them and the other with the milk. So we had to do that every 3 hours, so let's just say the dishwasher got its fair share of work. During their first few years of life, there were many moments where I felt forgotten by God. I felt powerless, but the verse from Isaiah which says, "I have chosen you, not rejected you," reminded me that God has not forgotten me. He chose me for this path, and during this, he was not asking me to be strong enough, but promising that he will strengthen me. The verse that Scott and I leaned on the most during this time, when the twins were in the NICU, was Joshua 1:9. When we stepped into the unknown, having to parent fragile babies in the NICU, fighting for their lives, making impossible decisions that were literally life and death, we had no clue what we were doing. We were not prepared for this. But like the Joshua 1:9 verse, God is not asking us to have it all together. It says, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Even into the NICU, even into all the waiting, even into the storm, God is with us. There's a poem that I came across during our NICU journey called Welcome to Holland, which is written by Emily Pearl Kinsley in 1987. It's written by a mother whose child was born with a disability, and she compares the experience to planning a dream trip to Italy. I'm going to read it for you now, and full disclosure, I actually got the okay from the author to do this. I'm often asked to describe the experience of raising a child with a disability, to try to help people who have not shared that unique experience to understand it, to imagine how it would feel. It's like this. When you're going to have a baby, it's like planning this fabulous vacation trip to Italy. You buy a bunch of guidebooks and make your wonderful plans. The Colosseum, the Michelangelo David, the gondolas in Venice. You may learn some handy phrases in Italian. It's all very exciting. After months of eager anticipation, the day finally arrives. You pack your bags and off you go. Several hours later, the plane lands. The flight attendant comes in and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland, you say? What do you mean Holland? I signed up for Italy. I'm supposed to be in Italy. All my life I've dreamed of going to Italy. But there's been a change in the flight plan. They've landed in Holland, and there you must stay. The important thing is that they hadn't taken you to some horrible, disgusting, filthy place full of pestilence, famine, and disease. It's just a different place. So you must go out and buy new guidebooks, and you must learn a whole new language, and you will meet a whole new group of people you never would have met. It's just a different place. It's slower paced than Italy, less flashy than Italy. But after you've been there a while and you catch your breath, you look around and you begin to notice that Holland has windmills and Holland has tulips. Holland even has Rembrandts. But everyone you know is busy coming and going from Italy, and they're all bragging about what a wonderful time they had there. And for the rest of your life, you will say, "Yes, that's where I was supposed to go. That's what I had planned." And the pain of that will never, ever, ever go away, because the loss of that dream is a very, very significant loss. But if you spend your life mourning the fact that you didn't get to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special, the very lovely things about Holland. That imagery struck me deeply, because nothing about our journey went according to plan. Our twins were born far too early, one at 23 weeks, the other at 26 weeks. We went from imagining cribs and baby showers to navigating ventilators, numerous surgeries, and the sound of alarms in a sterile hospital room. It wasn't the trip we signed up for, but in the middle of the unknown, we started to see things differently. We learned to celebrate ounces gained and seconds off oxygen. We met nurses and doctors that felt like angels. We felt God's presence, not in the absence of struggle, but right in the thick of it. And we started to realize that even though we weren't in Italy, Holland had its own kind of holiness. I grieved that the life I had planned was now going to be different. I still do sometimes. Not just the big things, but the little things too. The quiet losses most people never see. Those are sometimes the hardest to carry. For instance, for me, I never got to feel my babies move or kick inside of me. I never got to experience what it's like to carry a child to term. I'll never know what it feels like to hold a baby right after they're born. I didn't even get the chance to take maternity photos, which these don't seem like big things to many, but they were moments I dreamed of and I would never get. That's the part of Welcome to Holland that resonates so deeply for me. You plan for Italy, you read the books, you learn the language, and then suddenly you're somewhere completely different. And even though Holland has its own kind of beauty, you're still allowed to mourn that you never made it to Italy. I've learned that God can handle that kind of grief. He doesn't rush it, he doesn't shame it, he sits with us in it. And over time, he helps us see the tulips. He helps us notice the peace in the slower pace. He helps us find beauty, not in spite of the detour, but because of it. I questioned God a lot during this time. I asked why? Why me? I still do sometimes, but I keep reminding myself that God had a purpose for our detour. Holland is different. Holland is hard. Holland can be very hard, but it's also very, very beautiful. A friend of mine once said, even the worst storms eventually run out of rain, and the sun will come out. I wouldn't wish this path on anyone, but I also wouldn't trade the ways God showed up on our path. The way he shaped us, softened us, and deepened our faith, not in spite of the storm, but because of it. God didn't always remove the storm right away like he did in Matthew 8, but he always reminded me that he is still in the boat with me, riding the waves, no matter how big or small they were. He was always present, steady, and powerful. Our twins' birth story is about beating the odds when everything felt impossible. It's about holding on to hope leaning on love, and finding strength in the darkest moments. My twins were born 17 days apart, each weighing under 2 pounds. But their lives and our time in the NICU taught me what it means to live one day at a time, embrace the unknown, and trust God through it all. Because even the most fragile beginnings can lead to the strongest endings. So if you're walking through your own version of Holland, or if you're facing something that looks nothing like the life you planned, know this. It's okay to question God. It's okay to grieve what you thought life would look like. But don't stop there. Keep trusting, keep praying, keep showing up every single day. Because God never promised an easy journey, but he did promise to be with us through it all. So one thing I want you all to remember is that whatever detour you may be on, God can still lead you to a beautiful destination. So embrace the detour, because it'll likely be a better journey than you had planned for yourself. Amen.